According to the new night heavy bomber specifications, released by Britain in 1927 to replace the Vickers Virginia biplane bomber, the competing designs at that time included both biplane and monoplane designs. Due to the British Air Ministry's preference for traditional biplane designs, the HP.50 Heyford biplane bomber, with its strange design, was ultimately selected and began delivery in 1933. The HP.50 biplane bomber is a uniquely designed aircraft, featuring a metal frame covered with linen fabric. Although it has a biplane structure, it differs from conventional biplanes, with both upper and lower wings being large-span flat wings, with the lower wing positioned slightly behind horizontally. Typically, the fuselage of a biplane is mounted above the lower wing, but the fuselage of the HP.50 is suspended under the upper wing, with the lower wing connected to the fuselage and the upper wing by metal support structures and cables. The fixed landing gear with fairings is mounted at the front edge of the lower wing, and the twin vertical tails are mounted above the horizontal tail above the fuselage. This design has its advantages, as the open cockpit provides a broader field of fire for the gunner in the open combat position on top of the fuselage, allowing for better engagement of incoming enemy aircraft. However, this design also has several drawbacks. First, the biplane design certainly has limitations in terms of speed and quickly fell behind in the 1930s. Second, the high position of the fuselage and the required angle of attack results in the nose being raised high, providing poor visibility for the pilot when observing downwards during takeoff and landing. Additionally, the lower wing obscures the belly of the fuselage, making it impossible to set up bomb bays and bomb racks on the fuselage. The bomb bay of the HP.50 is located in the thickened middle section of the lower wing's main landing gear, where there are also bomb racks, allowing the aircraft to carry a total of 1,588 kilograms of bombs. The defensive armament layout of the aircraft is quite distinctive for its time, with a 7.7mm Lewis machine gun mounted in the conventional positions on the nose and rear of the aircraft, and an additional turret with a machine gun in a barrel-shaped structure at the rear of the fuselage, providing the aircraft with comprehensive defensive firepower. The two engine nacelles are suspended under the lower wing of the aircraft, with a total of 4 different models of engines and propellers used. The first batch of MKI models delivered in 1933 used 575 horsepower engines to drive twin-blade propellers with a maximum speed of only 229 kilometers per hour and a cruise speed of 189 kilometers per hour. The MKIA model used better 4-blade propellers, slightly improving the flight performance, while the subsequent Mk2 and Mk3 models used 640 and 695 horsepower engines, respectively. Although the increase in power was considerable, the aircraft itself had high resistance and weight, making the power increase somewhat negligible in the 1930s. The production of the 4 bomber models was 15, 23, 16, and 70, all with a crew of 4: pilot, co-pilot, navigation officer, bomb aimer, nose gunner, and wireless operator, rear gunner. This crew configuration was not very practical for the HP.50, as the wireless operator had to operate 2 defensive machine gun positions, keeping him quite busy. The HP.50 was actually in a rather awkward stage of aviation technology development, as most countries were already focusing on developing monoplanes, and by the 1930s, there were very few developments in land-based heavy biplane bombers. This shift in aviation trends quickly made the HP.50 obsolete. Britain continued to use this type of bomber until 1941, which was the last heavy biplane bomber used by Britain to date. In fact, Britain had already recognized the shortcomings of the aircraft and had mostly relegated it to secondary roles by 1939, and later used it for glider towing.